Tashkar, tushkur. Check this out behind me. What you see here is the Qalai Shuhada school in Ghazni. I used to study here for many years, and we used to line up here before we start the school. These trees were not there before, but they are there now. And I had so much fun here in this school. It's a very sacred place for me. Any place that you learn anything is very sacred, especially this universe. Really fundamentally what the universe is the biggest school ever created. And it's not a school just for me or you or someone specific, it's a school for all of us. And within this universe, there is our garden, our big garden, our school basically. What we do is we all participate, we choose, and we choose which roles, which characters we want to play, what experiences we want to have. And then the universe, with its infinite wisdom and intelligence, what it does is it optimizes the entire creation, everything, to specifically create experiences and events that suit you and what you want to learn. And in this process, what we do is we all start as seekers, and we are seeking to know ourselves, we are seeking to understand the universe better, we are seeking to know the truth better, we are seeking to experience unity, we are seeking to understand nature and the universe and God and the spirit and consciousness and the mind and the heart and the body and the collective experience we have. So we all start as seekers, but then as we go through the experience, we master that level, which is level number 0, like a game. Then we earn the rewards, we become a new person, we transcend, and then we let that be, because we now have mastered that, and we have mastered being a seeker. That level is independent. We no longer play that level consciously. It becomes a subconscious process where you no longer think about things, you just know them because you have experienced them and mastered them, and your mind knows it and has access to all its experiences, wisdom and knowledge. Then the next level is novitiates. Now you're more of a kindergarten, like an elementary school basically. Now you know some things, you have experienced some things, and now you have mastered some things. Now you get initiated into different pathways. It doesn't matter whether you want to master empowerment, awakening, realization, self-discovery, self-mastery, self-enlightenment, or ascension, or transcendence. The main pathways basically. And there are many other ones. I'm just categorizing them into empowerment, awakening, realization, ascension, and ascendance. It's just one thing, enlightenment and transcendence. And we all choose different sequences. We say we want to master, let's say, empowerment first, then awakening, then transcendence, then enlightenment, then realization, and all of that. And this opportunity is given to us typically at the novitiate level, which is like level number 1, which is when you actually have had a few incarnations, and now you have a basic understanding of the mechanisms of the universe. Now you become a bit more advanced, so now you get given different responsibilities and different kind of work you do, and you basically choose your pathway at the novitiate level, and then you dedicate your entire existence to that, and then you have infinite experiences, and you have many incarnations at different points in time. You go to the past, maybe you come to the present, you go to the future, you go to different cycles of time, you jump around. Imagine the time like this, a circle, and it has tubes, like main branches, cycles of time coming into a central core that is time itself. And then it's like, and then you go from, let's say, left to, you start from any point, you go to the middle, that is one cycle complete. And then you go to the other side, another cycle complete. It's like a circle. There are lines coming into the center, cycles, and these are not single lines. There are many thousands of timelines condensed together and categorized as one major timeline. And then you experience time differently at different levels. And time is the mechanism of the universe to make consciousness dance at different levels, different vibratory levels, different densities, creating different dimensions and different levels of experiences. So now you get given more advanced tools, and you get given access to different technologies and different powers, basically. And at the novitiate level, you choose your path and you go to different levels and you play different games and you have different experiences. And now you are no longer a seeker, because you have found different things. You have found yourself, basically. You have found the truth. And now you're initiated into different pathways, and you become a servant of the truth, the unity, the nature, God, the universe. And you choose how you want to serve. And then after that, after you master the novitiate level, well, after you go to the next one, which is pioneers. And now you start pioneering different things. You start creating your own systems, your own philosophies, your own mindset, your own technologies, your own systems, basically, your own ways of doing things, because you have a lot of experience. And now you start creating different things. You start creating new realities. You start creating languages. You basically invent different things, and you use your experiences, your powers, your intelligence, and the infinite resources of the universe available to you. But you're still doing it within this one universe. Really, truly, there is only one universe, and within this universe, everything else exists at different levels and scales and dimensions, basically. And right now, I'm giving you the perspective from the characters, the archetypes, the types of beingnesses that exist. And so far we have covered a seeker, which is level number 0, and then a novitiate, which is level number 1. Level number 2 is a pioneer. And pioneer is really easy. That's when you go to the middle school, basically. And now you're no longer like a baby. You've become like in your teenhood, basically. And you're starting to master different things. You're starting to become somebody. You have a certain way of doing things, certain way of creating things for yourself. And pioneer is really a very fun stage, because that's when you start creating your own reality. You start creating your own timelines, your own creations, and you start becoming more independent. And that's when you learn about freedom and compassion and self-compassion and love and things like that. And then you infuse those things into your teachings. You learn about righteousness, benevolence, evil, goodness, and really badness, and all of that, and impurity and purity, and you master duality and all of that. But fundamentally, at the pioneer stage, you create something that is unique to you. And that now you're no longer more of a servant to anybody else. You become a servant to yourself, and you create a technology, a system that does your job, your role, and you become like a small master, basically, a small inventor, basically. And what I did was, at the pioneer stage, I invented a few different things. Really, I invented about 14 different technologies, 14 different languages, and right now I'm giving you the creation, the 14 types of beingnesses, 14 levels of the game that we all play in the universe. And Pioneer is the most fun stage. Really, all of the stages are fun, but Pioneer is really awesome. Then once you master the Pioneer stage, right now I'm just giving you a very basic introduction of what these things are, but later on we'll explore deeper, because we have an actual super book, a sacred book about all of this, where we explore each archetype and each type of beingness there is in the universe, and how you level up sequentially. Then after the Pioneer stage, level number 2, well, number 3 is a visionary. Now things become more fun, because now you're a visionary, you have your creation, and now you're doing things differently, and you're going about and seeing things and experiencing things from a different perspective, and then you're gathering all your wisdom, all your knowledge, all your understanding, and you're making your system, your creation more perfected. And now you're actually going out into the world and start teaching this new creation that you've created, and how it helps everyone and you to understand reality better and have a better experience of reality. And that's really one of my intentions here, the purposes of doing all of this, because really the wisdom of the universe exists inside every system in your body. You have about 14 major systems that make up your body, and it's reflected in every organ, in every cell, every atom, every particle that makes up your entire body. And you have infinite access to this infinite reservoir or ocean of wisdom inside you that has wisdom, truth, knowledge, ideas, principles, fundamentals, information, mindset, paradigm, philosophies, concepts, systems, processes, technologies available to you inside you. And at the visionary stage, what you're doing is you're becoming a master teacher. You stand for something, and you have your own ways of doing things, and you go about on missions to teach and become a messenger, basically a messenger of different things. It depends on your personal choice and preferences. So that is an introduction about the visionary stage. Now, once you master the visionary level, after that, level 4 is called illuminate, which is when you become actually enlightened. And that is when you are no longer a master, you're more of like a lord. You have a creation, you have a certain teaching, you have become a master, and you have transcended all of that, and now you're more like a tiny little god, basically, in the eye of the universe. And now your value, your worth, your confidence increases because you have become illuminated, and you have gone through these stages, and you have evolved and transcended yourself and transformed and metamorphoses. At every level you become a different person. So now you have an entire history behind you, a wealth of knowledge and all of that. And at the illuminated stage, you become more like a reformer, somebody who goes around and transcends things, somebody who initiates different movements and revolutions, somebody who goes around and disseminates and distributes wealth and knowledge and wisdom, and really does a lot of bigger things for the universe and for yourself. And you get rewarded, and you are now more known, more like an ascended master, basically ascended master level wisdom and knowledge, and you're using your own teachings, your own technology to serve yourself, the universe, and God, and all of that, and everybody else at a bigger level. Now, once you master the illuminated stage, you go to level number 5, which is called Transcendence. Now, that is when you actually get access to my technology, Transcendence and Super Transcendence, which is when you learn how to transcend yourself infinitely, and so far you have been transcending yourself at different levels, but at the Transcendence level, you're learning about transcendence and how to transcend infinitely, and that is when really you look at anything and everything, and you're able to understand its architecture, its design, and you're able to resequence it, and you're able to evolve it and transcend it and transform it. So now you have a bigger responsibility, a bigger role for yourself, and you play at the bigger level, and the universe gives you access to more knowledge, more wisdom, more resources, more people, and more technologies, more powers, and you get given like different titles and names depending on the type of person you are, the type of soul wave that you are, the type of spirit that you are, and how your architecture, your design creates you, and how you are different and unique. You get given different rewards basically for mastering different stages. But really at the level 5, at the transcendent level, that is when you get given access to our technology, and we have technologies and resources and wisdom and available for every level because we've created this system. But the universe is co-creating with me and giving you access to different things. But you get the full power of transcendence at level number 5, which is when you become a transcendent. Now that is 0 to 5 level. You go from a seeker to a novitiate to a pioneer to a visionary to an illuminate, and collectively you become a transcendent. Now that is the first phase that is completed, and typically it takes about 800 to 1,000 different incarnations for you to get to these 5 levels, by the way. Sometimes it takes even more, it depends on the person, but typically it takes about 1,000 incarnations in the universe, in different planets and galaxies and different timelines and different points in time, for you to go from a seeker to a novitiate to a pioneer to a visionary to an illuminate to a transcendent. And once you do that, really what happens by this level 5, you completely earn your freedom, you free yourself, you liberate yourself basically, and then you also start liberating others and showing others how to become free of themselves, free of everything, and start becoming like a big master, like a big god basically. Not like that god, but like you get to a bigger level where you're given more godly powers basically. That's what I mean. You become a bigger god. And this process is very sacred because you become a different person every stage, and you learn more, and you learn about everything, and you master it. But there are a few levels beyond level 5. There's level 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And level 6 is called explorers. What explorers are basically guardians, guardian races. They are the protectors of the universe, the protectors of the truth, the protectors of nature, the protectors of the unity. There are different archangels that protect the kingdom of God and the empires of the universe. Basically, you become a protector, a guardian, which is an explorer. You become very powerful, and now your responsibility shifts to more like you now have an extra layer, an extra level of responsibility, different roles and functions that you're given to you, which is more about protecting the universe and the truth and yourself and your community and the creation that they've created. You become like a guardian warrior, basically. That's very easy to understand. Then after that, level 7, you become a unifier, and now you get given different abilities and powers, and you're able to connect different disparate and disconnected and broken parts of the universe and nature and the truth and anything that is in a state of disunity or discombobulated or is desynchronized from unity, from oneness. You're able to empower them and help them and show them how to unify themselves as one beingness, as one thing, and then also experience the universe as one thing as well. And that is more about unity as oneness. And we have a specific sacred book called Unity as Oneness that is already fully drawn and written and manifested for that. And then that is really easy to understand. You become a unifier. You unify. You're like a diplomat. You go around, you unify different things, different people, different races that have been fighting. You're able to unify different parts of the universe and different energies and consciousnesses. You become like a bridge builder, basically. You're able to learn to connect anything together and sequence things together in different ways, and you become a unifier, somebody or something or that which unifies, basically. It's really easy to understand. And it's not that the universe is in a state of brokenness or discombobulation or desynchronization, or it's not in a state of unity. The universe knows it is unity, it is nature, it is the universe, it is a manifestation of God, by the way, and there are many universes within this universe. The way I can help you to understand this is every planet is like a universe, and every galaxy is like a cosmos, and the whole universe is an omniverse. So we just use the term the universe because everyone understands this physical thing that they can see. They call it the universe, but every planet is a universe in their own individual right, and every galaxy is a cosmos made of many universes, basically many planets, and every solar system is basically many different universes grouped together. It's like one community, basically one family. That's what we call the one cosmic family of infinite diversity. There's really infinite planets and infinite diversity in this universe. And don't be fooled by the fixed number of physical planets that you see. Either are energetic planets, everything it all has energy, but the physicality is really an illusion. It's just a physical dimension, number 4, where energy and consciousness and awareness and the spirit is oscillating and vibrating so slowly that we can actually feel it and touch it, and there's a certain physicality to it. And these are the wisdoms given to you, and you master and you access and you learn at the unifier level, because you need to understand how the universe operates and functions, so you can, if there's any discombobulation, any desynchronization, you're able to bring everything back and reintegrate everything back with God consciousness, with God. Like that's what yoga is, like union, harmony. But harmony is at a different level. It's like you're unifying things, and these are a bit yogic wisdom for you. And then after that, level 8, you have the shapeless, which is when you're no longer bound to the illusion of the physicality or having a specific shape or form. You transcend having shape and form, and you become shapeless. You master energy, master consciousness, awareness, you learn about your spirit and the mind and things like that. And now you you're more like something that doesn't have a specific shape or form, but is able to manifest itself as different shapes and forms. That's what shapeless basically means. It's like you don't have a specific shape or form, but you are able to embody and manifest yourself as any shape and form. And really, that's when you learn about geometry and sacred geometry and languages, and you're able to understand that really nothing is hidden, everything is expressed in a different language, and you get given access to different language systems so you can understand the universe and see how everything truly is shapeless. علم و دانش توزیع منم کد ویدیوی من نباشید لطفا برین برین یالا باز برین برین ما فیلم خواهد کنم. These kids here gathering and seeing them talking about these things, and really the universe is truly shapeless because it has infinite shapes. That's what it means to become shapeless, when you understand that everything is truly infinite, and that within this container there's your body, within every atom the entire universe exists in infinite variation, infinite diversity. That's what it's like. Every atom is an entire universe, and but together every atom is an energetic center on a cosmic and universal and omniversal scale. And the collective summation of all these galaxies or different cosmoses create one omniverse. So this is a bigger and higher level of understanding of the universe and how there's bigger things here at play. And that's when your vision, your mind starts expanding and transcending, and you become basically shapeless. You literally go everywhere and nowhere, and you're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Yet you're in a specific place that is your body, your temple, your home, your own universe, your own existence, your own frequency of truth, basically. That is shapeless. And then after that, I believe number 9 is like dimensionless. That is when you transcend dimensionality. Like light is a dimension, energy is a dimension, spirit is a dimension, water is a dimension, every element that we know is a dimension. Your body is a dimension, the different systems you have in your body is a dimension, like the eyes, that is a dimension, the mouth, then the mind is a dimension basically, and geometry is a dimension, sound is a dimension, light, I told you, is a dimension. Like everything is really a dimension. And what a dimension in this context is basically, think of it like this. You look at, you have your eyes and you have the ability to see things. Well, that is sight. Well, that is a dimension, a reality where you have the ability, the function, the power, the capacity, the God-given ability for you to actually see things and perceive things that, like, hey, look, this looks like a face of a human, and that looks like that, that looks like that. And like your hair is a dimension, your nose, smell is a dimension. It's different aspects, different components, different abilities, different powers that enables us to have a very holistic and all-encompassing experience of the universe. And imagine this, the universe has really virtually infinite dimensions, infinite atoms. Basically every atom is a dimension, because a dimension is a self-contained universe, cosmos, omniverse is self-contained reality basically, and water, the elements, stone, rocks, color, geometry, everything exists in their own self-contained reality that is a dimension. But it would take a lot of time for us to explain these things, and there are infinite different dimensions. That is why we use the power and the principle of categorization, where we basically, a dimension is where different things, like imagine this, your body is a big dimension, and you have eyes and you have different atoms, different systems operating in one body. Well, now it's a categorized and called a human beingness, not a human being, because that's really old and it's outdated. It's a human beingness where it has transcended itself and become more dimensionless. And see it like this, when you're talking about these archetypes, these types of beingnesses, well, fundamentally each one is a dimension. Like the seeker is a dimension, the novitiate is a dimension, the pioneers is a dimension. The visionary is a dimension. The illuminate is a dimension. The transcendent is a dimension. The exposer is a dimension. The unifier is a dimension. And the dimensionless is a dimension. But when we say dimensionless, what it means is you master so many different types of dimensions and different ways of being in existence that you're no longer bound to any specific dimension, any specific type of being, and you become more fluid, and you're able to tap into and synchronize with any aspect of existence and dimension. So that is more about the dimension level, which is like number 9, I think. And a different perspective for you, more like a natural and organic. Everything is for me when I say it's really natural and organic. But we have trees, right? Well, trees exist in their own dimension, in their own reality, basically. And they experience the universe as a tree. And in the trunk of the trees, that's where the ascended masters live. And in the roots of the tree, well, that's where the elements live, and we can't see them. That's more like the quantum realm. And then on the trunk, on the branches of the tree, that's where gods live, basically, like big gods, like lords. And on top of the leaves of the tree, on the surface of the leaves of the tree, that is where God itself lives, or God himself lives. And then what we see as color is basically illusions. Color is the biggest, most beautiful illusion created. And colors, every color is a dimension. And the universe has infinite colors. And there is a very easy way for you to understand dimensions using colors and technology. When you look at a computer, what they have been able to do is they have been able to write codes in human languages and numbers and different coding systems. And on the system, the computer, which is made of atoms and particles and is part of consciousness, is part of awareness, is part of God, is intelligence, it computes that, processes that, and it creates imagery on the screen of the computer. And it has colors, and the colors we see in the computer sometimes is better than what we see with our eyes. And they have RGB codes. You basically can type up any number and letters, and it produces a color. Well, the universe has the same functionality. It has the ability to produce infinite colors. Imagine like the universe as there are thousands and millions and billions and trillions of kinds of color, each with their own, each type of color, which each has their own code, their own alphanumeric code. Like the color green, the green that I'm wearing right now, this has a specific alphanumeric code. And this one, the pink, has a different one. The color of my skin has its own color, its own code. And this way the universe is able to create infinite experiences for all of us. And what you see as, let's say, the color green is not what I see as the color green. And every color, you see it differently than somebody else sees it differently. And colors, they have their own vibratory state, their own existence, their own reality, their own dimension. And I'm using this to help you understand dimensionality, so you can really understand and realize that the universe truly is dimensionless because it has infinite dimensions. And these things you see, like the rocks and the stone, well, they have their own dimensionality. It's very rigid and very strong and very dense and very hard. Whereas your skin, the tonality, the design is very fluid. So that is a bit about dimensionality and how to become dimensionless. It's when you master so many different dimensions, that's when you realize that there are infinite dimensions of experience, but they are typically categorized to make it easy for us to understand. They're like grouped together. They're like, imagine a civilization, let's say the human collective. We have roughly about 8 billion people on this planet right now. Well, that is 8 billion dimensions, 8 billion universes, cosmoses, omniverses sharing a collective experience. And then we have billions and trillions of animals and insects and bacteria and trees and there's so many different elements and so many different types of objects and materials. Well, they all have their own independent experience, their own dimension. And what we're able to do is, because it all exists inside of us as patterns, we're able to synchronize and tune and access that dimension. Let's say I want to access dimension that is the animal kingdom. Well, when you see an animal, you're actually talking to it, you're communicating with it, whether you know it or not, telepathically, directly, because that animal, it makes sounds, it has movements, it sees you, you see it, you're sharing an experience. And that animal exists inside you, and you exist inside that animal, but you don't exist inside that animal as your body, as the person you are. You exist as patterns, as sacred geometric energy patterns, and that animal knows who you are, and you know what that animal is. And let's say I want to synchronize and tap and access the wisdom or the dimension, the reality of, let's say, air that's flowing this planet that you can breathe. Well, the air goes inside your body, and the space, the empty space that we see is like 999.999% out of 1,000% of the universe is empty space, and every atom is like 999.999% empty space. But it's not that it's empty, it's just that the presence of God is there, and we cannot see it because it's a different dimension, it's a different reality. It's like God is not hiding itself, God is not somewhere else. God is the totality of everything that is, the whole itself, all that just is, the universe. It's basically, we call it the cosmic body of the Lord. What the universe is basically the cosmic manifestation of the body of God. And this is what God looks like. When you look at everything, the colors and the patterns, the houses, the people, the animals, it's all part of God. These are all the infinite aspects of God, basically, infinite dimensions of God, basically. Because this word dimensions and is talked about a lot in different contexts, you can use the term aspect or quality or reality or existence or universe or cosmos or omniverse. That means basically a dimension. And those are different levels of understanding dimensionality. So that is how you become dimensionless. Now, number 10, once you master that, level number 10 is called harmonizer. Well, basically, harmonizer is somewhere between dimensionless and shapeless, but it's really, the levels I've got a bit confused. But there's a specific sequence we teach it because that's the proven way, that's how it actually all works. But then between either before or after dimensionless, you have harmonizers. Well, what harmonizers are, they're able to harmonize things. Like, let's say on this planet there's a lot of warfare going on right now. When we had World War I, World War II, well, World War III is playing out, but it's playing out in a small amount, different countries fighting each other. Well, that is desynchronization from God, because you're not fighting each other, you don't see unity, you don't experience unity, you're no longer in a state of pure joyful love, luminous light, peaceful unity, eternal harmony, absolute abundance, and infinite transcendence. You have desynchronized yourself, where you have taken a position and saying, well, you're wrong, that is wrong, that guy is wrong, that is my enemy, that country is my enemy, that country is my friend. We have basically polarized and divided and fractured ourselves. This human consciousness, this planet, is in a big trouble, because what we are doing as humans is we are fighting each other and we're creating fractures. We're building walls and dividing things and saying you're that, you're that, you're this, you're that, and that creates disharmonious states of existence. And that's how countries fight each other, that's how people fight each other, that's how animals fight each other, that's how gods fight each other, like lords. They have fights, they have warfare, the spiritual warfare is going on, it's happening everywhere. And warfare is actually very sacred, because it's a mechanism to destroy the old and create new, and force evolution and force transcendence and empowerment and awakening and realization. But the warfare that is played out on earth is very dirty. It's not a very spiritual warfare, it's more like for their personal gains and for making money and profit and all of that. It's very dirty, it's very devilish, it's very evil. where you're just looking at the country and saying, well, you're this, you're that kind of a race, you're that kind of an ethnic group, you have that kind of a belief, and we have this kind of a belief, we're different than you. Well, now we're going to fight you, we're going to sort of warfare with you. That is not spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is totally different than the warfare playing out on earth. And what happens is war, fighting chaos, is really the main mechanism and the process that creates disharmoniousness in the universe. And that's why we have harmonizers, the level where there are gods and intelligences and consciousnesses and collectives and civilizations and races, different people, different animals, different types of tools and powers and technologies that are always harmonizing things and negotiating, and it's slightly different than a unifier because the function and the responsibility and the level is more higher and it's more towards like a harmonizing warfare and state of chaos and fight between energies and consciousnesses and awarenesses and things like that. The warfare and fight between dimensions and realities and universes and planets and galaxies and races. There are warfares that have been going on for zillions and eons of years that we don't know about, but they're playing out behind the scenes, and on the surface on the planet what we see is the manifestation of warfare that's happening on a whole universal scale, on a whole cosmic scale, on a whole omniversal scale. And that's why we have a lot of harmonizers, and you can become a harmonizer after you have transcended dimensionality, and you get given a bigger responsibility. You're now harmonizing things. Just joking with the kids, just to infuse some playfulness into all of this. So that's what the harmonizer does. And we have a lot of extraterrestrials and aliens that are actually assisting planet Earth and the human collective to actually end the warfare. Now, understand this. This is not the first time we have had war on this planet or in the universe. There's a lot of wars that are going on, a lot of warfares, but there used to be a time where there was a big war, a great war on a whole universal scale, like different civilizations, different races, really advanced ones. They're fighting each other, and we actually destroyed everything. We destroyed this whole game. And what we see as the manifestation of civilization on Earth is not the first time civilization has happened in the universe. This is many versions, many thousands of iterations of existence and life, and it's been perfected. There are extraterrestrial and alien races that are so advanced. They were here millions, billions, trillions and zillions of years ago. They have transcended so much, they've evolved so much, where they have transcended dimensionality. They have become shapeless. They are no longer in physical form. They have become essence. They have become pure energy, pure consciousness, pure awareness, pure mind. They have basically gone to a level beyond physicality, where they have been here so long ago that once they had bodies kind of like us but different forms, but now they are in a different dimension, a different type of existence, and they are trying to actually help us, because they see that once we used to be like this, and a lot of the human people, the people that you see, they're actually soul waves, persons, basically, from these advanced civilizations coming to the planet Earth, teaching and showing us the different ways, and actually being as conduits and instruments for their wisdom, for their work to be done through us. And I'm one of them. I used to be very ancient. I started this game a long time ago, and I've been to the future, and I've come back to the present moment. We brought with me a lot of wisdom, truth, knowledge, principles, fundamentals, ideas, information, mindset, paradigm, philosophies, concepts, systems, processes, technologies for all of us. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm so advanced, and no, it's not the first time I've been here. I've been here many times on this planet Earth and in the universe. That's how I know these levels and different types of beingnesses, because I've transcended them and I've mastered them, and I have this group of people, these kids right now around me, sharing this experience, they're amazed, they're mesmerized as to what I'm talking about. Because I'm talking in English, but I'm in Afghanistan, in Ghazni, and we speak Farsi, Dari, Hazaragi. So they're like, what is this guy talking about? درستن بچه‌ها میفهمین چی میگم؟ به انگلیسی گپ میزنم درباره علمی دنیا و طبیعت و چیزا درس میگم دارم ولی فارسی هم بلدم خب so I know many different languages and by the act of me expressing this knowledge, this wisdom in English, and my body is doing a different thing but my mind is doing a different thing, I'm actually harmonizing things. I'm actually playing a seeker, a novitiate, a pioneer, a visionary, an illuminate, a transcendent, an explorer, a unifier, a shapeless, a dimensionless, and a harmonizer level, and roles and responsibilities and characters, because they're playing out inside me automatically because I've mastered them eons ago. And now I'm sharing it and teaching all of you how to do the same for yourselves. So that's what the harmonizer does, and that's some wisdom of the harmonizers. Now, number 11, we have shiftless. Now, this is really fascinating because what shiftless is that it's the state of immutability, incorruptibility, absolute purity, where you become indestructible. That is the state spirit is at and in. It's the dimension of incorruptibility, where you cannot really truly destroy spirit. How can you destroy spirit? It's incomprehensible. But there are ways to understand a spirit, or ruh. We call that ruh al-Qudus, or sacred, divine, holy, pure spirit, which is an independent dimension and it's been in existence, and it's actually a spirit that is overseeing and governing all of existence. Really, spirit is shiftless. It doesn't oscillate, it doesn't vibrate in the sense that we understand vibration and frequency and all of that. It's really so pure, so advanced, so intelligent, that basically spirit is the essence of God. That's what the spirit is. And it is invisible space, this 999.999% invisible space that we see in the universe everywhere. Well, it is spirit in its purest form, and the 0.1% that we see, it's really big, this universe, the physicality that we see, the objects that we see, the galaxies, the universes, the planets that we see, it's really so huge, but that is only 0.1%, or just roughly about 1% out of 1,000%. And you might be wondering, well, how the hell did you go from 100% to 1,000%? Well, you cannot use 100% mentality to understand the wisdom, the knowledge, the level I am at, because it doesn't work. It plateaus. If you use 100% mentality, all the wisdom, all the knowledge up until now, you will not understand what I'm talking about. These levels, these archetypes will not make sense to you. That's why you need 1,000%. That's why you need to go beyond 100%. That's why you need to put in a lot of extra effort to transcend yourself infinitely, because by the levels of a shiftless, you really transcend yourself infinitely. Even as infinitely, truly infinitely, where you become everything and all that just is, you become the universe itself. You realize that you're unity, that you're truth, that you're God, but not the God. That is different. And this universe is up until, that's why we say the cosmic body of the Lord, but it is not the Godhead itself. God is just a skull, it's a head. It has, and within this skull of God, it's crystalline, it's see-through, and it exists outside the universe, outside creation, and within it we see everything that is. It's pure energy. It's like dancing. It's like waves of colorful energy dancing, very harmonious. And that is what God is. God doesn't have an actual physical form. The way God has shown itself to me is that it showed me there is basically outside the universe, outside this existence, all of it, outside everything that is, there is a boundary basically, and above that is the skull of God, and within this skull exists everything that is in energy form, in consciousness form, in wave forms. And I was able to see through this skull because it doesn't have any layers, any coloring. It's like the color of the skull, the crystal structure around it is immutable, it's shiftless, basically. Could see through it, and inside it everything exists there in pure energy form, and everything that's like 999.999% of it. And then the other one, roughly 1%, is the existence, basically the universe itself. That is how tiny this actually is. It's really funny because that is a way for you to understand the difference between you, the universe, and God. But you're part of all of this. Nobody really escapes God. That's the problem. Because God encompasses everything. And the reason I'm using the term God is because God has been given different names, and I don't want to use those names because then you might have a different connotation, a different stance against those religions, those cultures, those spiritual traditions, those names of gods, and it will desynchronize you from the experience you are sharing right now. And you will start vibrating, and you start becoming shaky. Basically, you desynchronize from shiftlessness. God is basically shiftless, and you just gotta look at the dictionary or ask advanced artificial intelligence what shiftless basically means. You just Google it to understand it. Look at the internet. But that's the shiftless level, about dimension or level number 10 or 11. After the shiftless, we have vibrationless. And now this is when we, after the shiftless, the dimensionless, the shapeless, we get to like vibrationless. Well, God is actually vibrationless. God doesn't vibrate, doesn't oscillate, doesn't move. It's shiftless, it's perfected. But it is the universe that is vibrating, that is oscillating, that is moving. And God is very still, it's perfected. God doesn't move itself around in the sense that it doesn't have an actual body or doesn't have an actual form to manifest itself as. And imagine like this. You see in the sky there are clouds. Right now you can't see much, but you can see a few clouds. Well, that is where God actually is. That is like where God exists, outside creation, above everything else. And if you were to combine all the clouds in this planet, in every other planet in existence, all these gases and the clouds in the universe, you will get the spirally pattern of what God actually is. God is able to manifest itself to anyone, anywhere, in different shapes and forms and sizes. For me, it has manifested itself in two fundamental ways. One, I saw this huge cloud of electrical currents was dancing as spirally, and there was this voice that told me advanced civilization. But that was really God telling me there are advanced civilizations and I've been part of it, and everything is part of God. Even aliens and extraterrestrials, they're not something from somewhere else, they're still part of God. And this is what I'm trying to explain to you what vibrationless is. Because God is vibrationless, it is the source of vibration, the source of life, the source of energy, the source of consciousness, the source of mind. It is God that is actually causing everything to be. And God in this aspect is called source, that creates everything, that manages everything, that is really pure, unconditional, joyful love, luminous light, peaceful unity, eternal harmony, absolute unity, absolute truth. Basically, God is really the only true reality that exists. Everything else is just an illusion. While we are in this universe, in this physicality, this is really a temporary simulation, a temporary hallucination, a temporary illusion, because we're actually vibrating and oscillating and having these experiences. Like imagine going inside the computer and taking on the form of a character inside a video game. Well, that's what life actually is. It's like a big universal video game, just like I told you in the beginning of this video. It's the biggest school we have ever created for all of us, and I'm explaining to you how there are different levels in this school that you can go through, and God is at the vibrationless scale or level or layer. And when you get to this level, you actually really meet God directly in a very unique way, and you're given access to different things, different technologies, different powers, different abilities that you use for really benevolent and very righteous and good, pure purposes. Uh, so once you master vibrationlessness, after that we have Master Lord number 13, and number 14 is beingness. Those are really advanced levels that God knows about, and things that you get rewarded for accessing those levels and playing out. What Master Lord is that there are things that in actuality, in causality, in principle, it's not so much that it's bigger or better or more advanced or higher than God, that there are existences, realities that God has created that is on the other side of existence, on the other side of creation. That is where Master Lords live. That's where gods like Master Lord Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, like Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, and all of these Master Lords, basically that's where they exist. Basically soul waves, or basically different gods that have been around for so long. Some of us have been around here before this universe created itself, but the architecture, the design, the inspiration came from God. So it's true that the universe has used its own energy, its own power, its own consciousness, its own intelligence, its own mind, basically to create itself and create this beautiful creation, this beautiful school, this beautiful garden for all of us. But the inspiration, the architecture, the design comes directly from Source, or from God, or the aspect of God that is called Source. That's what Master Lord is. I am a Master Lord because the nature, not the universe, by the way. There's a big difference between nature and the universe. The universe is everything that you see, but nature is the totality of all organic creations by God, by the universe, by nature itself, basically. And nature has chosen me as its king. I am, my title as royal. Royal is basically my name, but the title aspect of royal is the king of nature. That's how I have access to this kind of knowledge, this kind of power, this kind of intelligences, but I don't use it for like making money or for stupid, selfish reasons. I've transcended all of that a very long time ago, where I'm using all of this for the purpose of teaching, but the wisdom doesn't come from somewhere else. I'm not channeling some fucking extraterrestrial forces or civilizations or people or some god from somewhere else. It's all inside my body, not it's containing this human body, but there are different levels, different layers inside of it. There's an energetic body, there is a spiritual body, there is a mental body, there is a physical body, there is an emotional body, there is yourself, there is your immutable container, that is your identity that is incorruptible, that contains all your wisdom or your truth or the knowledge, everything you've mastered. So it's all coming from inside me, but simultaneously, because I am inside this universe, inside nature, I am synchronized and connected to everything around me, and I'm able to draw in wisdom and inspiration from nature, from universe, from God, and I'm able to merge them and infuse them and update my knowledge, my understanding, as I am explaining it to you. So that is the level of Master Lord. And there are really a small amount and small number of Master Lords in existence, and we exist on the other side of God. Is a different reality, a different space specifically reserved for gods. And nature has a lot of mini gods, and I'm not any god in the sense I'm not like the god of something in the universe or nature. I'm just its king. I am the god of transcendence. I am the Master Lord of super transcendence. That's my title as Transcendor. And Transcendor is that which transcends. And we have a specific book, a super book, called the Sacred Super Book of Transcendor. And Transcendor is that which transcends. Transcendor is the furthest away from all of us, but it is the closest and is always within your reach. So basically, me, Royal, as Transcendor, I am no longer a Master Lord because that is my name, Royal. I am something on level number 14, the final level, the zenith, the core, that is called beingness. where I have transcended from going from a seeker to a novitiate to a pioneer to a visionary to an illuminate to a transcendent to an explorer to a unifier to a harmonizer to a shapeless, dimensionless, shiftless, vibrationless, and I've transcended all of that, which is Anwar, and then Master Lord, that is Royal, and then outside that is Transcendure. And these are the wisdom, the level. Once you get to everything from level 0 to 12, seeker to vibrationless, is the wisdom of Anwar. Basically, that's my Afghani name. That's the name of my soul wave. But the level number 13, Master Lord, that is the wisdom of Royal. And Royal is the king of nature. Nature chose me as its king. I did not force nature to make me as king. No! Was there something else done? Nature simply saw that yes, I am the only one capable of doing it. I'm the one that is most suitable for this role, for this responsibility to become the king of nature. But I don't use that power, that responsibility for my personal stupid selfish gains, because I've transcended all of that long time ago. And nature, or God, the universe, saw something bigger in me to make me the king of nature. But I'm very playful with all of this because I'm very detached from all of it. But I care about it, and it's significant, it's important to me. I'm grateful and appreciative for it all. And then at the beingness level, that's where the wisdom of Transcendure comes in. And you just gotta look at my book, the Sacred Super Book of Transcendure, the first book I wrote in 2024. In the first night of 2024, when the year changed, I had this dream vision that I had written this book called the Book of Transcendure. And it has around 1,000 pages, and I've hand drawn it, and it's in the language of transcendence. And I've created about 14 different languages, 14 different ways of understanding existence, and I've given you everything so far. And I've given you the character level, and that's the different levels in the game, in the universe we all play at. And beingness, well, Transcendure is the first beingness in existence, and Royal is the first Master Lord in existence, the first human to have become a Master Lord. And I have created this level, which is the highest level, and it's not, you have to go through the stages, the levels, sequentially in order, and by the time you get to like level number 12, 13, 14, it will take you entire eternities, entire infinities to get to this level. And the beingness is the zenith, the highest of the highest. It's the level that is independent. Basically from 0 to 12, it's one container.
How are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
What about
Do you speak English?
you do?
I am teaching. Your English is really good. Sorry. His English is very good. I don't know if I have to put emojis on their face and do a lot of editing, but for now, yeah, they're saying, yeah, you have to put emojis and cover our faces. That's all right. For our neck in it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And the shiftless, dimensionless, vibrationless, shiftless, shapeless, vibrationless, Master Lord, beingness, these are things you get access to once you have proven that you're pure and worthy and you have mastered all the other levels. It's not like you go and force some technology, some mind to get access to these things. These are in the Akashic records, they're immutable, they're protected. And that's why there's another sacred book called The Blockchain is How the Akashic Records Immutably Operates. And these technologies that we have is called blockchain, well, that is how the Akashic Records stores information and knowledge and wisdom, and everyone has their own Akashic Records. There is a totality, there's a different dimension, and all my wisdom, all when you go through these levels, or you have all these experiences, different lifetimes, well, everything you learn, all of it is stored in your Akashic Records, and you have access to it all the time. So really, everything I'm telling you is coming directly from my Akashic Records, from my book of life, from my universe, from my existence, and I am extrinsicalizing, I'm expressing it in English words because that's the human language that I know very well in this lifetime. But the operations, the technology inside me, in my mind, in my spirit, in my consciousness, in my universe, in my body, it's in the language of transcendence. And you just got to look at the language that I have. It's dimensionless, it's shiftless, it's vibrationless, it's timeless, and it has its own independent grammar and existence. And there are 14 different types of languages, 14 different ways of seeing reality, basically. And by far, the beingness, number 14, is the highest so far I've gotten to, the highest the universe has gotten to so far. But it's never going to end because there are thousands of layers that we are going to experience later on in the rest of our existence so far. So that was it. That is the Transcendence Profiler, 14 types of beingness, archetypes on a whole universal, cosmic and universal scale that everyone goes through in stages and transcends. And once you get to 0 to 14, you complete it once, then the next time around you have the opportunity to build your own version of it. And this is why I'm sharing all of this with you, so you can become aware of it, so you can understand it and master it, and you can create your own version of it. And this is really beautiful because I get to have a lot of fun and share all of this. And I'm on holiday. I've been in Afghanistan for 9 months, incubating in my mother country, really healing and transcending and gathering all my thoughts, all my wisdom, and packaging everything in sacred book forms. So in a sense, this is more like a teaser because I've given you some basic understanding of what each level is about. But you have to look at the book, you have to watch, observe, absorb, study, assimilate, implement the wisdom of these books that I have. And there's a special book that's called Self-Transcendence Mastery. It has 3-4 different books, and one of them is about these different levels, types of beingnesses I explained to you. So this is the video, the English explanation of what this book that you have access to is about. And that is really all for today. Royal Anwar from Afghanistan, sharing a lot of wisdom with all of you. Have fun. I have some kids around me that are shy, but anyway, it's been fun. Thank you so much. Bye bye.